Grade 8, Student's Book. Module 4. We will travel to the stars. In this module, we will be able to predict the meaning of new vocabulary items, read about space travel, the solar system, and the universe. Listen to a passage about Muslim astronomers and their inventions. Talk about the possibility of space tourism using the future simple tense, and prepare a message to send to outer space. 1. Answer these questions. What is the Milky Way? A galaxy. B, a planet. C, a universe. A galaxy. The Milky Way is a galaxy. 2. Our sun is A, in the center of the Milky Way. B, outside the Milky Way. C, in one of the arms of the Milky Way. C, in one of the arms of the Milky Way. Our sun is in one of the arms of the Milky Way. 3. How many planets are there in our solar system? A, 8. B, 7. C, 9. A, 8. There are 8 planets in our solar system. 4. Which is the biggest? A, Jupiter. B, the Earth. C, the Sun. C, the Sun. The Sun is the biggest. 5. The Sun revolves within A, the Earth. B, the Milky Way. C, the Moon. B, the Milky Way. The Sun revolves within the Milky Way. 4. In a group, discuss when you think man will be able to travel to Mars and other planets. Would you like to be an astronaut? What will the first man traveling to Mars, Jupiter, or another planet see? Take down notes. There will be problems. Exercise 2. 1. Read the article below. Now, let me start. The biggest scrapyard in the solar system. Do you think that scrap or rubbish is a problem on Earth? Well, it's also a problem in the sky. On a clear night, look up into the sky. What will you see? You will see the moon, the stars, and the satellites. Although you won't see it, you will also be looking at the largest scrapyard in the solar system. Look at this picture. There are tens of millions of pieces of rubbish. Scientists call this orbital debris. You will find the most unusual things floating around the Earth. A camera, a screwdriver, and even a glove. Most of this rubbish comes from satellites and rockets that stopped working and fell apart. This orbital debris would weigh 5 million kilograms on Earth. This scrapyard could cause serious problems. In August 2008, When a space shuttle returned to Earth, it had small but dangerous holes in it made by pieces of space debris. So, let's start thinking of ways to tidy space up. Now let me read the questions. 1. What do you think will happen if we don't try to find a solution for this scrapyard? 2. Read the article again and answer these questions. A. The scrapyard could cause serious problems. Is this a fact or the writer's opinion? Explain why. B. In your opinion, what could the solutions to orbital debris be? C. Do you think it is possible that other planets have space debris like ours? Grammar. The future simple. Predictions. Now, what is the future simple or the simple future? It refers to a time later than now and expresses facts or certainty. يعني نستخدم الفيوتشر simple لما نحكي عن أشياء بالمستقبل. The future simple is used to 1. Predict a future event. For example, it will rain tomorrow. 2. To express willingness or that someone or you want to do something. Example, I will do my homework. Or, he'll do the dishes. 3. We use it with you to give orders. Example, you will do the dishes. 4. To ask questions about the future. Example, what will you be doing tomorrow? Or, what will life be like on Mars? Now, let's see how we form the simple future. The simple future is simply composed of 2 parts. The word will plus the infinitive verb without to. Now let's see how we use the future simple in its affirmative state. Now, in its affirmative state, the pronoun or the noun comes in the first place, the word will in the second, and the verb in the third. Let's see how. Examples. I will go. أنا رح أروح. You will eat. أنت رح تاكل. He, she, it will walk. هي أو هو رح يتمشوا أو يمشوا. You, plural, will drink. أنتوا رح تشربوا. They will ask. هم رح يسألوا. لاحظتوا كيف بنحط رح أو بالإنجليزي will عشان نصير عم نحكي عن الفيوتشر simple. Now, how do we make a sentence negative using the future simple in its affirmative state? We simply add not to the word will. For example, I will not go, or I won't go. أنا ما رح أروح. You will not eat. أنت ما رح تاكل. He, she, it will not walk. هي أو هو ما رح يتمشوا. You will not drink. انتو ما رح تشربوا. They will not ask. هم ما رح يسألوا. هون بنشوف كيف نحن استخدمنا النفي بالفيوتشر سمبل. بس منحط كلمة not بعد الويل. طبعا لازم نعرف انه will زائد كلمة not تعطينا كلمة want. فمثلا نحكي I won't go, you won't eat, he, she, it won't walk, you won't drink, and they won't ask. Now, how do we use the future simple in its interrogative state? كيف بنستخدم future simple بحالة السؤال؟ Now, in the interrogative state, will be in the first position, the pronoun will be in the second, and the verb will be in the third. For example, will I go? أنا رح روح. Will you eat? أنت رح تاكل. Will he or she or it walk? هي أو هو رح يتمشوا. Will you drink? أنتوا رح تشربوا. Will they ask? هم رح يسألوا. هون شفنا كيف بالإنجليزي لما نصير بدنا نسأل بالفيوتشر سمبل will تيجي أول إشي بعدين البروناون and then آخر إشي الverb. Now, how do we use the negative in the interrogative state? كيف بستخدم النفي بالسؤال بالfuture simple? We simply add not to will. So, for example, won't I go? Won't you eat? Won't he or she walk? Won't you drink? Won't they ask? Now, let's go back to our book. The future simple predictions. 1. Complete this passage with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Now let's start. Blank, Jordan ever, blank, between parentheses, have astronauts in space. Did Jordan ever have astronauts in space? 2 Arab astronauts have been into space so far. Saudi Prince Sultan bin Salman and Mohammed Faris of Syria. To become an astronaut, you, blank, between brackets, have to train at a space training center. Fill in the blank. To become an astronaut, you have to train at a space training center. This, blank, between brackets, not be an easy task. Fill in the blank. This isn't an easy task. Specialists, blank, between brackets, train future Jordanian astronauts in science, maths, astronomy, and technology. Fill in the blank. Specialists will train future Jordanian astronauts in science, maths, astronomy, and technology. Jordanian astronauts, blank, between brackets, also learn about flying and about the systems on the space shuttle. Fill in the blank. Jordanian astronauts will also learn about flying and about the systems on the space shuttle. There are currently no space training centers in Jordan. To have astronauts in space, Jordan has to encourage young people to become future astronauts by having space training centers. This blank between brackets will open a new door for education in Jordan. Fill in the blank. This will open a new door for education in Jordan. If you work hard, you might even make it to space one day. Now let's reread the passage with all the blanks filled. Did Jordan ever have astronauts in space? 2 Arab astronauts have been into space so far, Saudi Prince Sultan bin Salman and Mohammed Faris of Syria. To become an astronaut, you have to train at a space training center. This isn't an easy task. Specialists will train future Jordanian astronauts in science, maths, astronomy, and technology. Jordanian astronauts will also learn about flying and about the systems on the space shuttle. There are currently no space training centers in Jordan. To have astronauts in space, Jordan has to encourage young people to become future astronauts by having space training centers. This will open a new door for education in Jordan. If you work hard, you might even make it to space one day. 3. Identify the future simple verbs in the passage above. Then, write sentences in pairs about becoming an astronaut using these verbs and some of your own. Four. Look at the picture of a space station. Write predictions about the following things. Now, over here, we want to imagine a spaceship in front of us. In this spaceship, there is a restaurant, there are robots working as waiters, and people eating and drinking, and of course, some pilots flying the spaceship. So now, write predictions about the following things. 1. Spaceships. 2. Crew. 3. Computers. 4. Spacesuits. 5. Tourism or tourists. 6. Families. 7. Flight attendants. An example of a prediction about spaceships could be like that. In the future, spaceships will have restaurants. They will be like hotels. Or, another example, in the 25th century, spaceships will travel to Mars. The crew and the passengers will not need spacesuits. Now, write your own predictions. 5. In pairs, ask and answer questions about space travel in the future. For example, A will ask, will tourists spend their holidays on another planet? B will answer, yes, they will. They will spend their holidays on Mars and Saturn. B might also add, will tourists visiting other planets need special astronaut training? And A will reply, no, they won't. 25th century spaceships will have a normal atmosphere and gravity. 6. Write predictions based on the following sentences. Let me give you an example. 1. Adele plays football very well. So, My prediction is Adele will be a famous football player. Now, I will read you the following sentences and you write predictions based on them. 2. Cars cause a lot of traffic on the road. 3. People want to travel to unusual places. 4. Samira likes to help her friends in their studies. 7. Over 2. Only a few people have ever gone into space as tourists, but there are tourism companies hoping to change this. They want ordinary people to be able to go on space holidays. If you had the chance to go on holiday into space, who would you like to go with? What things would you want to take with you? What would you miss about the Earth? Example, I would like to go with my brother because we both like to explore new places. And you can complete on. Skills focus. It will guide you. Reading. Read the article. Can you think of other ways of sending people into space? Reading strategies. Texts with sentence gaps. First, read the text as a whole to get the general idea. Next, read each paragraph with a sentence gap again and identify the topic of each paragraph. Example, Gap 1, Richard Branson's trip into space. Read the sentences before and after the gaps. Then look at the missing sentences and underline the linking words. Example, first of all. For each gap, find a sentence that matches the topic of the paragraph and links with the sentences before and after it. Example, Gap 1 equals C. So now I will be reading the article with the gaps, so without saying the answers. And then you will be able to fill in the gaps. Taking a trip to space. Can you imagine going into space and being able to float in air? Richard Branson's company is offering short journeys into space for anyone who can afford it. For around $200,000, you could go on the trip. The spaceship will be in 2 parts and will be able to hold 2 pilots and 6 passengers. The plan is for a 3.5-hour flight. Gap. Then it will launch the shuttle over 100 kilometers high and break off. Gap. This is not the only private company that wants to offer short trips into space. Gap. It sounds dangerous, but it is an idea that goes back to Sir Isaac Newton in the 18th century. Rockets are expensive and need a huge amount of fuel. Gap. However, humans might not survive the force needed to send them to the stars. Now, 3. Follow the stages in the reading strategies box to find the correct sentences A till D for each gap 1 till 4 in the text. So, as I read the text, you have noticed that there are 4 gaps. Now, I will read you sentences A till D and you will have to fill in the gaps. A. After that, passengers can undo their seatbelts and enjoy the feeling of zero gravity in the shuttle. B. So, instead of being driven by rockets, a spaceship could be thrown into space? C. First of all, a bigger ship will carry the passengers' shuttle into the air. D. Another possible method of launching people into space is a space catapult. Now, let me read the sentence that has the first gap. The spaceship will be in 2 parts and will be able to hold 2 pilots and 6 passengers. The plan is for a 3.5-hour flight. Gap. Then, so which sentence fits into this gap? Sentence C. First of all, a bigger ship will carry the passengers' shuttle into the air. Now, sentence number 2, gap 2. Then it will launch the shuttle over 100 kilometers high and break off. Gap. Which sentence can fit into this gap? A. After that, passengers can undo their seatbelts and enjoy the feeling of zero gravity in the shuttle. Sentence 3, with gap 3. This is not the only private company that wants to offer short trips into space. Gap. It sounds dangerous, but it is an idea that goes back to Sir Isaac Newton in the 18th century. Rockets are expensive and need a huge amount of fuel. So which sentence fits into this gap? B. So, instead of being driven by rockets, a spaceship could be thrown into space. Now, I'm going to read the sentence with gap 4. Gap. However, humans might not survive the force needed to send them to the stars. Which sentence fits into gap 4? D. Another possible method of launching people into space is a space catapult. Now, let me reread the passage with all the gaps filled. Taking a trip to space. Can you imagine going into space and being able to float in air? Richard Branson's company is offering short journeys into space for anyone who can afford it. For around $200,000, you could go on the trip. The spaceship will be in 2 parts and will be able to hold 2 pilots and 6 passengers. The plan is for a 3.5-hour flight. First of all, a bigger ship will carry the passengers' shuttle into the air. Then, it will launch the shuttle over 100 kilometers high and break off. After that, passengers can undo their seatbelts and enjoy the feeling of zero gravity in the shuttle. This is not the only private company that wants to offer short trips into space. So, instead of being driven by rockets, a spaceship could be thrown into space. It sounds dangerous, but it is an idea that goes back to Sir Isaac Newton in the 18th century. Rockets are expensive and need a huge amount of fuel. Another possible method of launching people into space is a space catapult. However, humans might not survive the force needed to send them to the stars. Vocabulary. 4. Find these words in the completed text and guess their meaning. 1. Seatbelt. A. Used for protection in an accident. B. Used for covering a seat. C. used for indicating speed. A. Seatbelt is used for protection in an accident. 2. Shuttle. Is it A. Spaceship, B. Cover, C. Fly? A. Spaceship. A shuttle is a spaceship. 3. To afford. A. To become used to new conditions. B. To have enough money to pay for something. C. To add things together. To afford is to have enough money to pay for something. 4. To break off. A. To turn into pieces. B. To jump. C. To separate. C. To separate. To break off is to separate. 5. Read the article again and answer these questions. 1. What will people be able to do in zero gravity? 2. Did Newton think that space travel would be possible one day? Explain your answer. 3. Do you think space travel will become more popular for tourists in the future? Why? Why not? Speaking. 8. Read the notes on Venus and Mercury. Let's start. Life on Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It revolves very slowly. A day on Mercury lasts 58 Earth days. The temperature on the side facing the Sun is around 415 degrees Celsius. The temperature on the side facing away from the Sun is around negative 170 degrees Celsius. A year on Mercury lasts 88 Earth days. It has a very thin atmosphere, no water, no wind, and no weather. Mercury has no moons. Life on Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun. It revolves backwards. A day on Venus lasts 243 Earth days. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system, around 470 degrees Celsius. Its atmosphere consists of carbon dioxide. Venus has no moons, but it has mountains and volcanoes. 8. Choose one planet and think about whether or not we could live on it. Would it be easy to live there? Remember that to survive, you must breathe the planet's air and suffer its climate. 9. Sit with those that chose the same planet as you. Discuss your answers. Communication workshop. Sending a message to outer space. Now let's start reading this article. From Earth with love. These are the messages NASA sent to outer space in 1974, 1975, and 1977. These messages were sent to Gliese 581d, a planet similar to Earth. Gliese 581d is the nearest planet outside the solar system that could support life. Hello from Earth transmitted the messages from the Canberra Deep Space Communication Complex with the help of NASA. The Australian Science Minister Kim Carr entered the first message to launch the project. His message said, Hello from Australia on the planet we call Earth. These messages express our people's dreams for the future. We want to share those dreams with you. When will the messages arrive in Gliese 581D? They won't reach it before the year 2030. Speaking strategies, short presentations. Make sure you understand what the subject is about. Write notes for the introduction, general information, the first topic, example, a description of our history, the second topic, example, scientific discoveries, and the end, a personal message. Practice giving the talk and prepare expressions you might use. 1. The first messages sent to outer space contained the formula for DNA, a diagram of the solar system, and pictures of a man and a woman. If we sent a message today, we could make it more complex. Following the speaking strategies, work in groups to prepare a short presentation about how you might represent human civilization. Here are some topics to think about, but you can add others. 1. A description of our history and beliefs, life in our cities, country life. 2. A sample of our art, books, music, paintings, films. 3. Science discoveries, astronomy, maths, biology, physics. 4. Cure for illnesses, medicine. 2. Prepare spoken greetings that you would like to send into space. Language development. 1. Complete this dialogue with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. رمزي. What? Blank. Life. Blank. Between parentheses. Be. Like in the year 3000. What will life be like in the year 3000? Selma replied, "Oh, I think we, blank, between brackets, travel through our solar system and other parts of space at the speed of light." Fill in the blank. Will travel. Oh, I think we will travel through our solar system and other parts of space at the speed of light. We will have our holidays on the moons of Saturn. Ramsey replied, "Of course, we can travel at the speed of light." Selma, "Why not? In the past, there weren't any planes and the internet did not exist. Can you imagine our future in 1000 years? We, blank, between brackets, not work." Fill in the blank. We won't work. There, blank, between brackets, not be any jobs because robots will cook and clean. Fill in the blank. Won't be. There won't be any jobs because robots will cook and clean. Schools, blank, between brackets, have robots to teach maths, reading, and writing. Fill in the blank. Will have. Schools will have robots to teach maths, reading, and writing. Ramsey replied, "What about climate change?" Selma then answered, "We, blank, between brackets, discover a way to stop global warming." Fill in the blank. We will discover a way to stop global warming, but humans will also live on the moon, on Mars, and on other planets. Now, let's reread the dialogue with all the blanks filled in. Ramzi, what will life be like in the year 3000? Selma replied, Oh, I think we will travel through our solar system and other parts of space at the speed of light. We will have our holidays on the moons of Saturn. Ramzi added, Of course, we can't travel at the speed of light. Selma then answered, Why not? In the past, there weren't any planes and the internet did not exist. Can you imagine our future in 1000 years? We won't work. There won't be any jobs because robots will cook and clean. Schools will have robots to teach maths, reading, and writing. Ramzi replied, What about climate change? Selma then answered, We will discover a way to stop global warming. But human beings will also live on the moon, on Mars, and on other planets. 3. Rewrite the following sentences twice. The first time in the negative form and the second time in the interrogative form. 1. We will go on holiday into space. Now, for example, for this sentence, we will go on holiday into space. In its negative form, it will be we will not or won't go on holiday into space. In its second time, its interrogative form, it will be will we go on holiday into space? And now, answer the following sentences with the first time in its negative form and the second time in the interrogative form. 2. We will travel at the speed of light in the year 3000. 3. School will be very different in 2100. 4. Robots will do all the work in the future. 5. Living on Mercury will be easy. 4. Match the following words to their definitions. 1. To revolve. Does it mean A. To move around something or to turn like a wheel? B. Pieces of scrap moving around a planet. A. To revolve is to move around something or to turn like a wheel. 2. To fall apart. A. It's a round object that moves around a star. B. To break into pieces. B. To break into pieces. 3. Moon. A. It's a round object that moves around a star. B. It is a natural satellite. B. The moon is a natural satellite. 4. Planet. A. It's a round object that moves around a star. B. It is a natural satellite. A. A planet is a round object that moves around a star. 5. Orbital debris. A. Pieces of scrap moving around a planet. B. To move around something or turn like a wheel. Orbital debris are pieces of scrap moving around a planet. Crossword puzzle. Read the clues and write the words in the puzzle. Right now, we will read some vocabulary words and their meanings. 1. Spaceship. A form of transport for carrying people through space. 2. Zero gravity. The state in which there is no gravity. 3. Scrapyard. A place where old or unwanted things can be left. 4. Satellite. A machine that has been sent into space and goes around the Earth, Moon, etc. 5. Compass. An instrument that shows directions. 6. Universe. All space, including all the stars and planets. And 7. Solar system is the sun and the planets that go around it.